Good morning and welcome. It is 10 a.m. in the UK, 5 a.m. on the East Coast, and today is Thursday. So that's good. I'm just waiting to go live on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, YouTube. And as soon as the countdown clock is finishing, then we'll start the broadcast. Peter will not be with us today. He's in Milton Keynes. I'm not sure whether John's around, waiting for John to arrive. So he's Blabbing for Britain with me, and it could be a very short show. You never know these things. So thank you for watching live, and I'll take the countdown clock off in 7 seconds, or probably less than that. Okay, countdown clock will disappear, and I will appear. Okay, good morning, welcome. This is the day when this happened. Boris Johnson is to resign as leader of the Tory party. That's just been announced. I've got it, two sources. I've got it from The Guardian and I have got it from the BBC News. So I've cross-checked my sources. I've changed that several times. It does mean now, basically, that Boris Johnson is stepping down as Tory leader. It means there will be a leadership election for the Conservative Party between now and the autumn. And when a new leader has been elected, they will become Prime Minister and Boris Johnson will step down. That's as I understand it right now. Basically, the announcement was made at 8:30 this morning in the UK, and the reverberations are actually just being felt out. I've been keeping an eye on the news, and I've got noises off in the background. I've eaten his breakfast, having a cup of tea. I don't know which, but say good morning to in a second or two. If I go here, say good morning to John.
Yeah.
John's camera's not working. I've got two. John's not got any, so I'm going to put one of mine off on the hope that John's camera will actually come on. I can see XSplit VCam, John.
Yeah, and me.
Yeah. I can hear you, but just can't see you. Okay. So, breaking news, 8:30 this morning, Boris Johnson said he's stepping down as leader of the Conservative Party. An election will take place for a new leader of the Conservative Party, and then they will become Prime Minister in the autumn. So he's still Prime Minister and will remain so until the new Prime Minister. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, John? Are you?
It was almost news to me. I haven't looked at the internet or anything this morning, so.
Yeah, it is hot off the press. We're ahead of the game, and yes, I mean it was inevitable, wasn't it? I mean, so many ministers were actually resigning, and we say good morning to. Morning, long time no see, Claire. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us on this auspicious occasion when common sense prevails in Westminster. It doesn't very often, but I don't think he had much choice. Nearly 50 ministers and PPSs resigned in the last 24 hours, and no government. Effectively, he couldn't do anything. And say good morning to. No picture on LinkedIn. Oh, we have no picture on LinkedIn. But thank you for letting us know, Roland. There's nothing we can actually do from within the studio. We just have to keep on rolling with no picture. Hopefully, we've got a picture on Facebook. Do you have a picture on Facebook, John?
Let's open Facebook and find out.
Very good. Okay, and over to Roland. It's just a black screen on. So something wrong with our connection to LinkedIn. So welcome to the Blabbing for Britain radio show on LinkedIn. You can't see us, but you can hear us, hopefully. And Over to Roland again. Facebook's okay, thank you. And Claire is saying they were going down like 9. Yes, they were totally. I think Keir Starmer said it best. It's the ship leaving the rats. That's the way it seemed. And over to Claire. Yes, to FB. Brilliant. Okay, so we are on Facebook, John. We're just not able to be seen more than 9. Yeah. Okay, so common sense has prevailed. You can't carry on when you don't have a government. There are 120 MPs who are paid to do a job in addition to being MPs, and of those 120, 50 over the last 24 hours have resigned, which means it's impossible to actually run a government because there is no government. I mean, the country carries on because the civil service never stop. They're the ones who actually run the country. The MPs are the ones who present policy to the country, but the work is done by the civil service. So there's never a case where the country can come to a grounding halt because our civil service looks after us. So let's take that off then. I'll probably play it later in the broadcast as well. And it's over to Claire. More than 9, says Roland. And again, anyway, I'm waiting call for number 10. No, that boat has gone. That boat has gone. Roland's saying, anyway, I'm waiting for a call from number 10, a job offer opportunity. There's a school party that visited the House of Commons yesterday, and they put out a tweet saying that the teacher leading the expedition had been offered a job in the government, and the kids were actually going to join in too. They were all going to become private parliamentary secretaries. There's a lot of memes going to be going around in the next few days, I would think, as the news settles in. Right, now we've no Peter today. I got a cryptic message from Peter saying he was in Milton Keynes. And then I replied back to him and said, have a great day in MK. And because that's what we call Milton Keynes, because you and I know it's the MK Dons. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think Peter got the MK Dons bit of it. But Peter's not with us today. He's down in Milton Keynes. Yeah. Okay.
The exciting concrete jungle.
Yeah. So just to show that it's not just us or me saying that Johnson will resign if we go here. This is The Guardian, and yes, I do subscribe to The Guardian, and they're very grateful for my subscription. They tell me every single day. And basically, Boris Johnson is to resign. 3 minutes ago, Buckingham Palace declined to comment on whether the Queen has had any communication with Boris Johnson. On the Today programme, David Davis, the former Brexit secretary, said he was not too bothered. And Starmer has said Boris's resignation is good news for the country. And people have been resigning. More ministers resigned. So they all resigned, and then Boris had to, he had no option but to step down because there's nobody left in his cabinet. Yeah. And it's been a weird thing because he did appoint a new chancellor. And they all went, Boris Johnson had a heck of a day yesterday. He had Prime Minister's questions, and then he went to a committee where he was thoroughly grilled. Whilst he was in committee, people kept on resigning. He kept on saying how he was going to govern until 2030. And there's a big gap. And he just didn't feel that he was going to be made to resign. Let's catch up with the comments. Waiting for a call from number 10. Over to Roland again. He's staying on as PM until the autumn, correct? Which is why I had to alter this 3 times because I had heading to resign as Prime Minister, and then I've changed it to, well, this is as it stands at the moment. That is correct. He's resigning as Tory leader, but not, as John said and Roland says, Prime Minister until the autumn. Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said at the beginning.
So he's still got the opportunity to make us bankrupt.
Well, he basically,
whether that's monetary or morally bankrupt, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he has a chance for a few road trips. Yeah, I mean, he's better off being out of the country. Yeah, the rest of the world thinks more of him than the electorate in the UK, which is true. Hopefully, it will signal a change. But I think it's been a pantomime, and we've not been able to debate anything apart from what Boris was doing wrong. Now that's a thought. Just a minute. Rule without a cabinet. No, that would be a dictatorship, and we are far removed from being a dictatorship. I don't think he thought of that one. And over to Claire, and Claire is saying they could make him. Yeah, they could make him. I can't see it because I've got.
It says go now.
They could make him go. Oh yeah. I mean, this is basically 8:30. Boris Johnson accepting the fact that he can't continue, and with setting a precondition that he will carry on until the autumn. As the day progresses, that may well change. We can only report what's happening now, but they could make him go now.
I think the person who's going to lose out in it, sadly, is Zelensky, because he's been probably Zelensky's biggest supporter in the Ukraine.
Indeed. There is going to be a fallout. I mean, he was better. He did a good job abroad, but not at home, and certainly not with the truth. I think that's what did for him in the end, was the fact he sent ministers out on the press rounds with false information, asking his cabinet to tell lies. Which was
they do that every day anyway, so why would that be different?
But there are lies and there are lies and damn lies. Yeah.
But how do you know a politician's lying? His lips move. Yeah, you know.
Okay, we don't. We've got to take things on trust, and recently we've not been able to take things on trust. Yeah, and we've had a series of minor skirmishes, but basically somebody who just didn't care. What he told the public doesn't matter. We didn't matter. We were just voters, and we voted him in until 2025, I think, 2024-5. But he's got to go. I mean, he totally flipped when he said to people he was expected to be Prime Minister in the 2030s. Yeah.
Well, he can be Prime Minister of La La Land, can't he? That would be acceptable.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a job I would take on. I wouldn't even. Well, I'm not. I am political. I mean, I'm a member of the Lib Dems. I'll put my hand up there, and that's my thinking. But I don't have any wish to be in office. After helping Angelica campaign to be a Lib Dem councillor, a county councillor, I've seen what it looks like, and yes. Let's just say politics is not a game for the faint-hearted or those without any optimism.
Is Angelica going to have a go next year?
No. Angelica is on the committee of the local Lib Dems. She is disability officer. I think that's the right title. She's doing that job, but I don't see her standing again. It's a soul-destroying thing, yeah. But until recently, if you had put a Conservative up in Wiltshire, then they would win, and it doesn't matter who the opposition was, they would win. I think having the blue tie has made a heck of a difference in Wiltshire for quite a while. Whether there'll be a sea change now, because our MP is Danny Kruger, and Danny Kruger is infamous for a comment he made the other week, and people advisors are just so angry with him. It's not true, and he did resign yesterday. He was one of the last people to resign. Whether he will get re-elected or not, I don't know. Over to Roland. Oh, wait a minute. Yep. Boris is moving to. Come on. Moving to. We're in suspense. Boris is moving to devisers. Oh, well. I don't know about that. Right. And going back a bit, correct. I was saying I don't think it'll change. Our policy to Ukraine will stay the same. And that could make him. They could make him go now. Yeah. So just to remind you, if you're just catching us live, Boris Johnson is to resign as Tory leader. And this is what he said at 8:30 this morning. He would resign as Tory leader so that a leadership election could take place for a new leader of the Conservative Party. Once there is a new leader of the Conservative Party, then they will become Prime Minister. Until that time, he would like to remain as Prime Minister. And as Claire pointed out, that is basically his wishes. It isn't necessarily what is going to happen. And we'll just keep an eye on The Guardian. If I just go back to Guardian. So thank you to The Guardian. Okay, I'm just going to refresh the page. See if the heading's still the same. It might have changed. So it still says Boris Johnson to resign. And Nicola Sturgeon saying it's not sustainable for Johnson to stay on as PM. Okay. And,
yeah, well, it's not sustainable for her to have indie ref 2 to 250 that she wants to do. Woman drives me mad.
We did talk about the Scottish independence referendum last week, and the polls say that the majority of Scots are against leaving the union.
It's pretty close, actually. It's 44 to 43 with a load of other abstainers and don't knows. So if you look at it out of the 100, yeah, then it is only 43%. But if you look at the no's, that's only 44%. The balance is don't knows or I couldn't give a monkeys type thing.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, is there anything? Oh, I just go over here. No, just last comment was Boris is moving to the advisors from Roland. BBC's got Boris to stand down as Tory leader after a wave of resignations. Johnson to resign as Tory leader but remain as PM until the autumn. So that's from the BBC. Yeah. Who do you think will be leader? The new leader of the Conservative Party? Roland?
Sunak? Well, I don't know, really. I think it's too big a guess. The thing is, there isn't really a standout person, is there?
Well, from the Conservative point of view, they've got to pick somebody who's strong enough to put all this behind them and to make a new appeal to the country. Now, the last time we had an election, which Boris won by a majority of 80, it was on the basis that this was a totally new government. Well, that line they can't use again. They're a government that's been in power for 12 years. So they need somebody who can present, somebody who's in control, somebody who's boring. Yeah, boring but enigmatic. Can you do the two at the same time?
I mean, if you look at the main people, none of them is really hit you in the face. I'm going to be the man. The only person who's really been high, if you like, is the former Chancellor, Mr. Sunak. So I wouldn't mind him as PM, to be honest, because I actually think he did a really good job as Chancellor.
Well, he steered the course, didn't he? He kept the economy going through the time of the pandemic.
Yeah, Roland says David Davis, but he's had his time. He's a past person with too much history.
You want somebody younger, somebody in there.
Dynamic,
but not egotistic. Yeah. Somebody who wants to run the country, not to win popularity, but to actually get the job done. Because we're still in difficult times. We're still in a financial crisis. Inflation is going up as prices go up. Inflation's going up. We've got the war that's going on in Ukraine. A whole range of things. All right. Okay. Now, Claire says Liz Truss ? There's no doubt about she is credible. That's the first thing. And she does speak her own mind. She is intelligent. She has I would say that she would be a good candidate. Definitely. Yeah. Because she does.
She wouldn't get my vote. Wouldn't get my
vote. I don't think we get a vote, John.
But no, I meant that as she's not my idea of a prime minister. Right. We need a Thatcher. That's what we need. And I don't mean that Thatcher did wonderful things necessarily, but she was strong. And that's what we need now is strong leadership.
It is. Over to Roland. Let's scare the world. No! I'm going to be honest here. One of the things that direct benefits of Boris resigning and disappearing in August, hopefully, is that never again will this particular person grace our television screens. Roland's saying, let's scare the world, Jacob Rees-Mogg. I don't want to see him ever again. I just don't. He's just got a weird view of Penny Mordaunt. Yeah.
So he's not a punch you in the face person, and we need a punch you in the face person now. We're gonna do it. Boom, boom, boom. As we're getting rid of a weasel, we need someone who's committed and strong.
We need someone to tell the truth. Well, as much of the truth as we're allowed to hear. Yeah.
They're politicians. Their lips move. They must be lying.
Not all of them.
Oh.
This is Blabbing for Britain. This is an intermission. I pressed the wrong button. We are back.
I wonder what happened then.
Right. I'm just trying to entice Peter if he's in Milton Keynes. See if he can join us.
Yeah. Mousy World in Milton Keynes or something like that then. But last time he went to Milton Keynes, he went to an exhibition of what do they call them? The Americans would call them exterminators, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
That's what we need, an exterminator for Mr. Johnson.
Right. Okay. Let's catch up with the comments. And Roland is saying, let's take I think I've shown that comment before. Let's take a commercial break.
Yeah, he's referring to you putting the sign up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Claire says, don't tar all politicians with the Tory brush. Yeah, well, you've got two Liberal Democrat voters here.
Yeah.
So we got in the recent local elections, we got a Tory attempt at a wipeout for the area, but they lost out to a young man called Michael Carthew, who's been a bit of a pain at times in most people's opinion, but he got voted in by a considerable margin over the Tory candidate. So I decided to try him out the other day. And I asked him if he could sort out the high hedge between us and the school at the allotments. And I didn't hear anything for 5 days. But he did say to me it won't be an instant reply. And then he rang me back and said, "Yep, I've sorted it out. And if you ring this number, you can speak to this bloke who's responsible for the hedge. And between the two of you, you can sort out what you want to do." So,
result.
Yeah, he annoys people because whenever he does something, he takes a selfie in front of it, you know. But his self-promotion has worked because he's now the candidate. He's now the councillor for the area, and he put the noses out of joint of the other two Tory councillors. So, good luck to him.
Okay. Right. So, if you just joined us, you're just catching us, and we're passing through your news feed.
So, Solihull has 2 MPs, a North and a South MP.
Yeah.
And the North one was the private PPS for the Prime Minister, and he resigned. He was one of the early resigners. And then my local MP, a guy called Knight, he put out a letter and he put it on the local Facebook group, or one of his minions did. And he got hundreds of replies telling him that it was time he went as well.
Well, you stick your head above the parapet, you're going to get
shot.
Right. Yeah. Now, I've only heard this secondhand, and I haven't had a chance to verify it, but I'm sure it's true because the source was good. We're Thursday now. On Tuesday, a new education secretary was appointed, a lady who's an MP for Chippenham. If I get this wrong, then don't worry about it. And then this morning, she resigned. So she got the job on Tuesday, resigned this morning. And the rumor going around devisers is that because she was a minister, she will get the package given to any minister when they step down. So for being in the job 2 days, she's got promoted, got a raise, and now she's taking a goodbye package.
Doesn't sound like she'd be very credible if she accepted it, does it?
No, I don't think it should go down well with her.
But she was a junior minister before, though, in the education department. Right. So who knows?
Yeah. Okay. So all sorts of things going on. Let's catch up. I've still got a newspaper. Bring it in.
3 months paid salary.
Right. Okay.
That's Claire's contribution. And yes, she said pest control. Yeah. I think he's at a pest control exhibition in Milton Keynes.
Right.
But he didn't tell us until the last minute. So, well, almost last minute. And we miss him because now there's no arguments and moans and I'm going to shout at you today.
As Sean says, you've got 2 Lib Dems in power today.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a Conservative voter, so not that the Scottish Conservatives are the same thing as the English Conservatives, but they do all belong to the same group, I believe.
Right. Last week and the week before, we were joined by Peter as a guest live from Ukraine. They met on LinkedIn. He's in Russian occupied territory. In actual fact, he is in Kherson, and his name on LinkedIn is, because Peter didn't know his name, so I looked up his name, is Yevgen. I made contact with him after the show last week, and we will, once Peter returns, invite him back just for 10-15 minutes to actually update us on what's happening in Kherson. Because what we did hear this week is that the Ukrainian government is going to recapture Curzon and surrounding territories. They're going.
That's a big ask, though,
offensive.
because
Sorry,
the
John.
strip is all the way across the bottom, and it's right on the right-hand side, so next to the Donbass region. So it's a big ask, I think, particularly as it looks as like they're going to give up some more territory for the city that's being bombarded at the moment. So
yeah. I mean, beginning of the war, we were hoping for a peace treaty at some point, but I think we've got into a situation where it's just going to go on and on and on. And the Ukrainian people are making the best they can of it. I mean, this system runs because of Ukrainian engineers, great team of people, and they've managed to keep Belive going all through the months that this has been going on. Incredibly, if we go back to the front page on the Guardian, it's just this Boris Johnson to resign. But if we go down here, it's day 134 of the invasion. I just wanted to get the numbers right. It's just going to go on and on, unfortunately. Right, I'm going to stop the screen share. So thank you, Guardian. And back to the two of us. Okay. There you have it. Right, what else is going on, John? Let's go back to the news, to the
your
BBC.
team sold most of its good players.
Sorry?
I said your team sold most of its good players. Many of them gone on free transfers just to get the bill down, really, isn't it? You know, you can't afford.
But basically, our new manager, Mr. Company, has been pulling strings, and he's already got 6 new players in. Yeah, so it's going to be a totally new team.
Wages.
Yes. So he's reshaping the team in his own image, and no doubt the team that appears later this year will bear little resemblance to the final match that Burnley played in the Premiership. But I think I just get a sixth sense that we might do well in the Championship this year and be in the top 3, which would be remarkable.
Yeah,
because we belong in the Premiership. We do. So
well, I'm
that's the
hoping
hope.
Solihull Moors will do better this year because, of course, they failed to make it to the Football League. They lost to Grimsby at Wembley in the knockouts. So we're hoping that this year they'll do enough to actually be promoted, you know, without having to go to knockouts.
And of course, it's that time of year, Wimbledon. We're heading. John's going to go quiet now. We're heading towards the finals. Let me just go and check on the draw. I'm going over to BBC, of course. I'm going to sport, and I'm going to tennis. And let's just find out what the state of play is. That's the lineup. Right, Nadal is going to have a scan before the semi-final. And where's the order of play? Live scores. Right, so it's right, yeah. Okay, could be an interesting day. It's been some brilliant tennis played so far, and we have, of course, it's the men's semi-finals we're interested in, and it's a gentleman called Cameron Norrie, who's managed to get to the Wimbledon men's tennis semi-finals, and he's the first person to do it for quite a while. So wish him well today or tomorrow.
Isn't he taking over Henman Hill?
Right. No, you see, I was watching a tennis the other night, and they said the crowd are watching live from Henman Hill. And I remember a campaign to make it Murray Mound. That didn't happen. So if it can, if it didn't become Murray Mound, it won't become his either.
Right.
I don't think. Okay. So good luck to Cam, as he's known. Cam Norrie in the men's semi-finals. We don't have anybody in the ladies' semi-finals. We did have a good first week, though. So there is hope for British tennis. Every time Wimbledon's played, the number of people playing tennis increases. So it's good for sport. Yeah. Also, on at the moment is the Tour de France.